Well, hello, everyone. Welcome into TexAgs Rewind presented by Yeti. So today's show was about complaining. We're going to move on. But today we're allowed to complain a little bit. We'll probably complain a little bit over the week, but like complaining about the selection, A&M getting a 7th seed. Today's the day to kind of voice our opinion about it.
Yeah, vent. And I'm fired up. Texas A&M's dancing. And, you go win one, you set up a hell of a showdown. You go win two, and this team's legendary.
Yeah.
Let's look at it this way. This basketball team, Buzz, Wade, Boots, and the gang, you go out there and you win 2 games in Des Moines, Iowa, and I think you start asking, is this the best A&M team we've seen?
Yeah.
It's a lot of work to get there. To win those 2 games is going to be really hard, including knocking off a team that a lot of people are picking to not only go to a Final Four, but play in the championship game and roll straight through this bracket in the Longhorns. But if you do that and you knock a favored Texas team out to advance as far as any A&M team's ever gone, and by the way, if you do that, you got a chance to go even further. But even just right there, to finish second in the SEC, win 15 out of 18 games in that league, to advance to the conference tournament final, which has only been done 2 other times, one with this same group pretty much a year ago, conference tournament final, and then go as far as any team's gone to go to the Sweet 16. We're sitting here venting and ranting and raving. They are 2 wins away from reaching legendary status when it comes to Aggie basketball, and I don't think they'd be done. If they can get out of Des Moines, I think this team has something really magical in it. It is going to be very tough. They've been dealt an extremely difficult hand, but it's not one they can't overcome.
Absolutely. So we'll talk about that on the show, obviously, the tournament. Andrew Monaco stopped by. He was fantastic. Buzz with some amazing words on this show. And, of course, this guy, Billy Liucci, next on TexAgs Rewind. Was it predictable? Was it like, were you shocked? Was it like, yep, this is what kind of happens?
I was really surprised when I got back to my hotel room last night and started comparing the higher seeds from 3 to 6. And I looked at all of their stuff, all of their data. The A&M putting them number 7 didn't come out as egregious, but I still think it's ridiculous. And the reason why, the first thing I look at, because I thought they were a 4, the minute they said, I saw Xavier was a 3. Xavier, a 3 seed, has the same record as A&M, 25-9. They're 3 spots lower than A&M in the net. A&M obviously plays in a stronger conference because what does the SEC have, like 8 teams?
Yep.
So that tells you right there they're playing in a stronger conference. And then I look at, Xavier is 9-6 in quad 1 wins. All right. Well, we all know that not all quad 1 wins are the same. So I looked at it. Hey, they got a quad 1 win. They have beaten number 8 Connecticut.
Big win.
Nice.
Yep.
They have beaten number 17 Creighton. Very good. And number 25 West Virginia. And then they got they beat Florida 63, Providence, I think 56. They beat them twice. Cincinnati 70. Those are big wins. Now, A&M, same record, higher net ranking, 7-6 quad 1. They've beaten number 2 Alabama.
Great season all throughout. Number 2 team in the conference. We've talked before. I think there's only been one team that's been more consistent than A&M throughout this year, and that's the team that won the regular season and the conference tournament.
Yep.
16 wins in the conference for Alabama, and then they sweep, and they were impressive, and they deserve that number 1 overall seed. 15 wins goes to Texas A&M. They split with Alabama. Last time I checked, number 2 lost on the last day. Again, okay, they didn't have anything to play for, right? All the excuses come out. But all the excuses for every other team. If Texas A&M is no good, what's the accomplishment then? I think Texas A&M is fantastic, and I'm thrilled that they had a great run. I loved everything about this, the double bye, right? It's been historical what they've done. You know what I mean? They get the double bye for the second time in the SEC. They make the semifinals back-to-back years. That hasn't happened when you're in the SEC. Yep. Of the two teams on that floor yesterday, only one of them was in consecutive championship games, and it wasn't Alabama. It was Texas A&M. And through all the storylines of yesterday, the end of last season and the conference run, and the Aggies to win 3 one-and-done games, right, with their season on the line, and then you fall to Tennessee to do the same thing in the one-and-done, to fall behind on Friday to Arkansas, and then beat Vanderbilt and really show how you can play against Vanderbilt and meet Alabama. And the entire resume that you put together. And then the other layer was last year at this time, the emotions of that Sunday. You got a chance to play for a championship, you lose. You go back to the hotel and you're expecting to see your name come up, and you don't. And players are sobbing, David. They're sobbing, right? The emotions, you go from the high of possibly winning a championship to the low of we're not in, and then to the NIT from there. So this year, the opportunity to play in the championship game again, to have a rematch with Alabama, and then this time, though, you know you're going to see your name.
And I do think there is residual to yesterday. Is there proof of that? No. Would anybody say there's proof of that? No. And that's my whole point. And I think there continues to be people leaking things out that prove that what I said last year, which was not to offend anybody, every head coach in college basketball, every assistant, every wife, every child, every player, every mom and dad of those players, every support staff, every associate AD, every AD, college basketball specific, we want to play in the NCAA tournament. And to some degree, we're judged relative to that. So if that's the case, I think for everybody involved, we just want to know, that's all. What is the access? What is the transparency? What is the accountability? Everybody says net. Okay, I understand. In the net, prior to yesterday, we were 18. We played the number one seed. We lost handily, and we were 19. Okay, no problem. Okay, then please justify what our seed is. And if your response is your non-conference schedule losses and weakness, okay, I understand, but the net takes that into account. So now what is the next layer? And so I think what I have to do is last year, after the SEC championship game, Texas A&M was number 43 in the net. When we lost to Tennessee before Selection Sunday, we were 43. Mm-hmm. Yesterday, on the 7 line, the 7 seeds are number 42, number 41, number 33, and number 19.
This is my thing. You do not punish a basketball team to put their hand out and make an example and slap them on the hand for all the world to see because you don't like the level of strength or not the lack of strength of their non-conference schedule. You don't do that. That's not your job as a committee to send some kind of veiled message. You want to send a message, put it in writing. Say it. Educate people. But you don't send a message to the sport, and that's kind of what Goodman was insinuating, that, hey, A&M got punished harshly for their lack of strength of schedule in the non-conference. And he's been talking about that all year, and it definitely feels personal against Buzz with him. I will absolutely say that. But you don't say that when the entire concept of leaning on this net ranking that we are been led to believe that they do, when the entire concept of that is to factor it all in, and the penalty is built in. those losses are factored in. So if you're ranked 19, that's saying, hey, if you would have played a tougher non-conference schedule, if you would have won some meaningful games, if you wouldn't have lost some bad games, you'd probably be 9 or 6. Instead, you're 19.
Right.
That's already worked in. So you don't send the extra punishment. Hey, let's move them down 2 more freaking lines because we don't like what they did in non-conference. No, see, that is personal. That goes beyond the body of work and the resume, and that violates the spirit of that committee and what those people in that room are supposed to do. And that's why I think they're ass clowns. That's why I think everyone on that committee failed for the second year in a row. And if there was any personal bias or vendetta, whether it's against Buzz for what he said or A&M, period, then your ass should be off the committee. You don't deserve to be on that.
Like, comment, subscribe. We're busy today, so we're just going to let it go. We're going to cough it all out. We'll see you guys next time.